Hey guys, so we've talked a lot about the basics of memory palaces and memory techniques so far, and we've got one last video for you. So we've talked before about using memory palaces to learn foreign language vocabulary, Spanish vocabulary, medical vocabulary with these two loci here, pretty much any kind of vocabulary you would want to know. And we're going to move on now to something a little more advanced, a little different, which is using memory palaces to learn your notes for instance, for a class or for an exam, to learn different pieces of information, details about a bigger topic. So let's move on to this fifth and final locus here. And if you remember from the original list of 5 words, that was pancreas. And so if we open the oven here, that was our fifth locus. We imagined originally a couple pieces of pancakes here sizzling on the different grates, and so that represented pancreas. And so let's say we had a piece of information about the pancreas that we wanted to remember. So let's say, there are 4 endocrine hormones that the pancreas secretes. So we want to learn those 4 endocrine hormones of the pancreas. So let's go into that. We're going to do what we've been doing, which is imagining that information as images that we can visualize and then linking it together on this physical locus here. So the 4 endocrine hormones of the pancreas are glucagon, insulin, pancreatic polypeptide, and somatostatin. Okay, so we're going to turn those into images. Let's just do this quickly here. We've got glucagon. Glucagon makes me think of Glock, like a gun. So we're going to imagine a Glock just kind of balancing on the stove here. Insulin kind of reminds me of insulation. So maybe we'll think of a thermos, an insulator, filled with steaming hot chocolate for that. Maybe we'll imagine it kind of sitting on the stove here, being cooked by the stove. We've got the Glock here that was shooting a bullet into that thermos. So for pancreatic polypeptide, the third one, pancreatic polypeptide kind of makes me think of pep, like a cheerleader, and then poly. So maybe we imagine that there's a cheerleader named Polly kind of hiding, kind of cowering behind this thermos here. She's kind of scared by the shooting of the Glock. And then the fourth one was somatostatin. Somatostatin to me just kind of sounds like tomato because it's got the tomato sound. So maybe we'll imagine Polly, she was hiding behind the thermos here, scared of the Glock, but then suddenly she turns around and now she's getting pelted with all these rotten tomatoes. So that that set of images represents our 4 pancreatic endocrine hormones. We had glucagon for the Glock, insulin was the thermos, pancreatic polypeptide, our pep, cheerleader, Polly, and somatostatin were the tomatoes. Okay, so obviously that's one piece of information. So for a big topic like the pancreas, of course you might think, okay, I need to encode and remember a lot of different things about that. So if I was doing that, I would pick a larger room, a different room. I'd pick a new room or a set of rooms and then start, turning things that I wanted to remember into images and putting them in different places in those rooms. So for instance, I could use, one locus, might be a set of images about the different diseases of the pancreas. Another one might be about different cancers of the pancreas. Another one might be about different surgeries of the pancreas. Another might be about different anatomical parts of the pancreas. And even within those, they could have a couple of different loci for the different facts. So that's how I would do that. I think that's it. One final point is, obviously this is kind of a very different off-the-wall technique than you might be used to. And it might seem like me taking the time to create all these images and everything is sort of slow and complicated. And to that, I have 2 points. The first one is that with practice, just like with anything, you get a lot better and you get a lot faster at making these images. I'm able to make them pretty much, instantly as I go. The second thing is that you really need to think of this as an investment. I think that if you take the time, up front to make these images and to really imagine them in interesting, memorable stories, one, you'll remember it a lot better and you'll be able to see connections between all the different things you're learning and make all those memories even stronger. So I think it's a very, very good investment. So that wraps up our video tutorial series just talking about the basics of memory techniques, in particular the memory palace.